Alright folks, we're back. We're just gonna hop directly into the game. Tried to do some non-spoiler versions of tweets and time that out a little bit badly, but hey, what do you know? We're in our next best of 3. This is still the Corsair Cup. You haven't swapped tournaments, don't worry. It's still powered by Twitch, but we actually have quite a few rounds to go through today, and this is only round 3 out of a total of 6, so about halfway through the tournament at this point. A lot of good players here in the top side of the bracket. In the bottom left side of this map, however, we do have the blue Terran, light blue. It's Beastyqt.
In the top right is the red Zerg. He is liquid TLO. Now, did you see the Twitter interaction this morning between TLO and BC and Nathanius? A couple others, I guess.
No, do enlighten me.
So, I'll just be as like factual as possible, right? So, BC kind of made a point about the fact that automated injects, or stackable injects rather, are still a thing. Not automated, stackable. So if you have more than 5 energy, you just stack them, and then you don't have to worry about it again for a little while. And how basically it makes every Zerg play like Dark. So Nathanius kind of agreed with him, and then a bunch of Zerg started sarcastically retorting on Twitter, like TLO. He was like, yeah, I beat Dark 2-0 earlier today, so like I'm pretty perfect, something like that. And then a laser kind of joked with him, and I guess Beastyqt took it in stride, but Nathanius was really, I guess, really trying to make a point. So Nathanius was like, no, but seriously, this is like an issue that like people just like accepted back when it was implemented, and no one ever really disputed. No opinion is given at this point in time from me, but I just thought it was funny because Beastyqt in the lobby said, "Please be gentle, Dark."
Oh.
That's what.
Well, I actually, so now that you've mentioned the full story, I know that Twitter interaction, and I saw it, and I'll comment on that in a second. But first, I want to thank Smiles. It's a game. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Glad to have you on board for the Base Trade Brigade. But yeah, it's something where I think before, I remember specifically, we could look at players and you could almost judge them on how much energy their queens have while you're watching the gameplay. Like, oh, why are they down in supply? Oh, their queens have 75 energy. Okay, well, it's bad macro, blah, blah, blah. I think on one side of the argument, it does kind of suck if you're not a Zerg player, because you look at this like easy mode thing that Zerg can do. Not that all do, but they can do. On the other side, though, I think StarCraft 2 does need more quality of life changes like that. I made a joke earlier with the medevac rally thing, but queens being able to inject and take a little bit like less focus so you can focus more on your army, I think makes for a better Zerg player. And maybe this is, I think this is kind of funny because this is what I think was the direction they should have done back when they tried to change the macro stuff. Like, oh, Terran don't drop mules anymore. Protoss don't really get chrono boost. So, like, you remember that whole spiel where they tried to remove the macro components from the game?
Yeah.
That was the wrong way to go about it, but I think the Queen Injects was the right way to go about it. There are really no other races that have that. Like, they kind of did a little bit with Protoss having like a permanent chrono boost, but it's still like, eh. I think the Queen one isn't broken. I don't think it's overpowered. I don't think it's worth balance whining about, but it is. I wish StarCraft 2 had more quality of life changes like that, and it's nice to see sometimes.
So this, like, it kind of reminds you, we're still watching the game unfold. We have another Hellion drop and a Banshee, like Beastyqt did against the last Zerg we saw, so we'll see that and how that goes. But it kind of reminds me back when certain people were really paranoid that the increased larva inject, because they gave 4 instead of 3, I think it was, remember?
Yeah.
Would ruin the game and make Needling Blink too powerful, and there was all doom and gloom in Apocalypse Sayers. And I was like, well, you could be right, but I think we have to watch. That was kind of my argument for the entirety of the whole thing, and look where we are, it's really not that big of a deal. So that's kind of where I'm at with the larva injects as well. We still have games where we will look at queens and say, oh wow, they're not larva injecting. Even though they can make up for it, they still missed a golden opportunity to have consistent injects. Like, it's still a big part of your macro game, so it doesn't make the game like superbly easier, and that's where I stood, but I'm not going to get into a Twitter argument about it. So, I just liked how, I guess, these Zergs were kind of being tongue-in-cheek.
The passion and the cheekiness.
Yeah.
TLO's actually got an interesting setup for this. It's Hellbat's not just Hellion, so it's a little bit stronger than you might expect. You boost those 4 to get them into the drone line and on the top of the queens, but of course the idea is you want to kill the queen so the Banshee has a stronger follow-up. Not about worker kills necessarily. These guys gonna walk in through the front. If they were Hellions, they're gonna run by. That's a bit unfortunate.
Well, remember when Beastyqt did this against D-Lord in the first game, he waited a while to get an armory, which I thought was on purpose, but it might have been a mistake because he was Hellion dropping and Hellion run buying.
I think the Hellions were better than the Hellbats.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Hellbats, literally, they took too long to walk past the spine crawler. They both died to him. So it also has a little to do with the map, I suppose, as well. It's TLO's third, not natural. But yeah, I think the Hellions would have done a little bit better.
Yeah, maybe. Well, regardless of the effectiveness of the opener, it's not like Beastyqt is out of the game from this, but he is going for mech.
Whoa! Mech! Oh my god! Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. It makes sense though in Proxima, I think.
Well, this by the way is totally what I expected him to be doing the whole series through. Like when we saw the 2-1-1 out of him earlier, that was actually the weird thing. Like for every other Terran player out there, going mech is the weird thing. For BC, going 2-1-1, to me at least, is the weird thing. But it'll be fun to watch this play out because TLO we know is a good player. We've actually seen him take on a lot of folks. He's done really well actually in Shoutcraft, surprising a lot of people over there. He always ends up with the weirdest games, I swear to God. But what I'm really interested in to see is how he handles the mech situation. Because it's a Spire, it's a lot of Lings, but I mean, does he know that it's mech yet?
He might have a suspicion. I mean, TLO probably plays against him a decent amount.
I'm not sure why that Banshee was idle there. That was a mistake. That was a big giveaway.
He also saw a second factory. Oh, okay, TLO's using Abathur.
Oh, I didn't have the voice back on.
I know.
I'm not surprised. TLO, I think, as well, for those who want to hear more Abathur, I guess, is streaming his own matches. If someone could link that in chat, I'm pretty sure he's got more viewers than we do, but still, send him some love if you want to see his first-person point of view.
Wow, TLO's playing some very interesting... Well, no, okay, I guess this is because he found out it was mech, never mind. So he probably wanted to go into, like, Mutilating Bling, but after seeing it was mech, he doesn't mind opening Mutas, but obviously won't be upgrading his limbs.
Oh.
Can, I guess, technically. It's not.
So a couple of small details right there, by the way. I love that he tried to go for the Evolution Chamber block. I thought it was really cool and a good idea. Secondly, transfused one of the drones. Which, I guess, if it keeps it alive, it keeps it alive. It's just funny to watch.
Yeah. Swarm hosts. TLO was definitely one of those guys, and that's pretty good against the Terrans on ladder. So I think this is also going to be pretty good on Proxima, as one of the weak points of Proxima is how much space is available to drop grass, and in a way, Swarm hosts can do that. So even though they're by ground, obviously, I'm pretty sure they can still reach from, say, like the main base from that. Pocket hallway, or they could just go behind the natural and third base and probably still do something there.
Yeah. This is really cool though. We have hyperflight rotors coming out of the tech lab. I didn't realize he was still keeping that on the starport there. So that's going to make the Banshee super quick, and we'll see how that comes into play or not. But Mutas and these Locusts are going to be problems. As you guys can see, Locusts don't have a lot of health. They're like 40 health, 50 health units, whatever. Light. So pretty much everything deals bonus damage to them. The Terran has to fire, but unless you're in position, you've got Thors ready to volley and Hellbats with Blue Flame on the ground waiting. Those Locusts will get a lot of damage done. Full Metal Optimus, my man, thank you for the 600 bits. Glad to have you on board with such generosity.
Oh, nice. And we also got a new sub. BM Itha, the Mytha.
The man, the Bemitha, the legend.
Bemitha. Okay. Thank you very much. So TLO's really taking control of this game. Like Beastyqt was almost guaranteed 3
might not even
bases.
save the factory. Oh, that sucks.
Wow. You guarantee 3 bases because of the map, but 4th base was always going to be questionable, and securing 3 bases and really securing them was also going to be questionable against these Swarm host plays.
So, continue to talk on hyperflight rotors for a moment here, because it's been so long since we've seen them. I like this not because normally we see this as like the harassive Banshee that can outrun the Overlord, but they're probably the only units fast enough in the game with the damage at least to catch Swarm hosts. Unfortunately, Swarm hosts are surprisingly fast even off creep, so unless you're using like Hellions or Banshees, like tanks aren't going to be catching them. Cyclones actually struggle to keep up with them. It's kind of annoying.
Well, kill them before they get them.
Unfortunately, hyperflight rotor's not done just yet, but he's still continuing to make Banshees, and I think we'll see a couple more come out of him still.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if this game really went to 4 bases versus 5, 4 for 6, 5 for 7, like that type of thing, these Banshees would be flying all over the place. You will have to expand farther and farther as the third player too, but he's not getting an opportunity to you know, one Banshee flies around, it's not that big of a deal. It's when 6 Banshees can both snipe a base and run away that it's like stupid.
This is cool, by the way. I love that he's pulled some SCVs to auto-repair his army. It's not really easily dealing with the mutas, but the mutas aren't the problem. It really is those swarm hosts. I also want to know, like, exactly when and who it was that first discovered that the best way to use locusts and swarm hosts were, like, to stagger them. Because it's always been, since, like, at least when they were first made, you want to throw out all the locusts all the time, always. But half and half has worked out pretty well, and TLO's unfortunately going to finally lose these. BC's taking quite a bit of damage, so just killing them, and unfortunately behind this, it's not more locusts and more swarm hosts, it's a lot of ravagers, it's roaches, it's a greater spire. There's just so much that he's not ready to deal with. He may have dealt with what's here and now, but he's not ready to deal with a follow-up.
Oh my god, he purposely surrounded that Thor.
That was cool.
So
I like
silly.
that.
You silly TLO.
Fighting within the range of the planetary is nice, for sure, but still a tough fight to take nonetheless. Banshee's still going to be the kind of, I guess, gods of the sky for the time being, but there's only 2 of them, so the damage here is limited, even though they are doing a lot of damage. GG.
Oh, TLO had control, man.
Yeah, he did. Hey, thank you, Silent Rebel, by the way, for that end-of-game sub. Silent Rebel 217. Is that your call sign? Glad to have you on board. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub.
Are our usernames just our call signs?
Red 5, standing by.
You wish your name was Red 5.
That would actually be a cool name. Cooler than
Red
Rifkin.
Rifkin sounds like a name, though. Like an odd name for sure, but...
It's the name of a serial killer and a guy who's all about climate change if you Google it. So... For me, it was just a random name generator from World of Warcraft from like 7 years ago.
Good stuff.
I think at this point it would be too weird. Like I would 100% love to be creative enough and smart enough to come up with a really cool name. But even if I did, I don't think I could change it. At this point, everyone knows me as Rifkin, right? Like there's no forte to salvation or vice versa on this one.
Fortunately, if I ever stop liking Zombie Grub as its whole name, I like the nickname ZG.
Yeah, ZG's awesome. Nice. See, you can't abbreviate Rifkin though. Like, what do you do for that? R.
The Rifster.
The Rifster. All right, well, we'll get them in here for Abyssal Reef in just a moment's time. And I think I'll save the tempo song for now. I really have been overplaying the crap out of that thing because I like it so much. But we got to get the intros done. Unfortunately, we've just been so busy, and this always ends up being the case for a lot of these map intros, where it's just non-stop casting, non-stop work. Like I don't get a couple hours to sit down and make videos.
Right.
Good guy, TLO. Can we talk about that for a second? Jeez.
Okay.
Jeez Louise. No one else offers to do that. We get in the lobby and TLO's like, I just realized I'm not using a delay. Should I set a delay so it doesn't ruin the stream? Good fucking guy, TLO. I might disagree with him sometimes, but he's always a good guy at heart.
Really? Yeah, I guess so.
But okay. We are getting into game number 2. And once again, just to advertise, TLO is streaming. 100% recommend checking out his stream, guys. Watch that first-person point of view of Zerg dominance, but don't bring spoilers back to the channel, because as we just discussed, we are not using a stream delay. Or sorry, he is using no stream delay. We are using a stream delay. So it will end sooner on TLO's stream than it will end here. So no spoilerinos, please. But in the bottom right side of this underwater map, it was his map choice. It's going to be the light blue My Insanity's Beastyqt.
In the top left is the red Zerg. He is Liquid TLO.
Alright, so for TLO, I don't think he did a bad job at all responding to Beasty. The initial defense was pretty solid. Those Hellbats didn't really get much done. The Hellions would have been better, I think, as we both agree. But ultimately, I liked his defense all around. And the choice to go Swarm Hosts, I still wouldn't call that conventional. It's one of those things where I think a lot of people recognize that they're okay to go for, but they are not easy units to use. Again, whether it's just simply splitting up and staggering the waves in which you send them, or whether it's positioning them so they don't get caught super off guard. Like, swarm hosts look like such an easy mode, like laugh your way to the win type unit, but they're not. So respect to TLO for using them quite well that game.
Laugh your way to the bank with the $10 you won.
Pretty much.
I would like to deposit this, sir. Yeah. Now, they're not too easy. Like, they do take... If you don't already have control of the game, they can bring you back because they can be very cost effective. But I think that they are much better when you're already in control of the game because they're kind of slow, derpy units. And they get path, you know, path AI'd, which happened a lot, even as TLO was winning that game. You're losing pretty expensive units. Well, fairly expensive.
Oh man, that name sounds comfortable. A lazy boy sleeper just subscribed to the channel. I've changed my mind.
Now, is he like a lazy boy who is a sleeper agent?
No, no, no. I know exactly what this is, and it's a comfy as hell chair. It's gonna recline, and you're just gonna fall asleep in it.
I've never had one, or felt one, or been in one, man. Like, what
Dude,
is so amazing about this?
You got it. Holy crapperino. Riamar, what's up, man? $50 says hi. That $50, of course, can be forwarded over to the tournament fundraiser we got going on, but a little bit of mind games going on. I'll talk about the lazy boy later. Because Beastyqt did this thing where I think he does this frequently enough TLO knows about it. He went out with the Reaper to check, he brought it back home, then he went without it again. TLO hid on purpose with those links for a little while, waiting for him to leave with that Reaper. So now it's on the way back. This didn't cancel the command center building. It did catch an SCV, but this was more clever than just losing them to the Reaper needlessly.
That is true, but it is kind of this choice. Do you try and kill the command center, or do you try and ensure the Reaper comes back and maybe you get like a couple Marines? Because if this was a 2-1-1 build, he would still have trouble defending against it. But Hellions popped up, Reaper's still alive, and there wasn't much to be done, but it did pull the Reaper back. So in this case, as TLO is following up immediately with roaches, not defensive roaches, but attacking roaches, it was absolutely worth it.
It's a little bit annoying that Ling drifts off the mule, so you had a trip lost now from that. But yeah, the roaches might be a problem. He's gonna at least intercept these in the middle of the field, so he's got time to start making cyclones if he wants. But it is one of these things where again, TLO, like, he knew this was coming, so he hid in the bushes. He waited for the bait. Now the Hellions are dead, and there's nothing to kite him. And they just walk across the map. Or I guess
at the very
scuttle.
least.
You're underwater.
They usually do scuttle. It's true. Beastyqt can now try and get cyclones up. You know, there's a little bit advanced notice by catching them in the bushes. It's still a bad spot for Beastyqt because I think TLO, realizes he has a good build against what Beastyqt does and might not end the game if Beastyqt reacts correctly. It's something that they can get a big lead off of. Oh, Beastyqt already kind of messed up. Like, I think you're supposed to pull the SCVs.
I just realized a TLO roach in the bush is worth 2 in the hand. Alright, well, this ends up being a lot better of a defense from Beastyqt, honestly, than I thought. And like you said, if you got time to get cyclones out, he would definitely hold it. But still, losing workers through it, he pulls them back home. The roaches were pretty dedicated out of TLO, but... oh, why is the army supply missing? There we go. Fix that. But yeah, this ends up falling pretty flat. Now, back at home, TLO's got 3 bases. Well, third one finishing up as we speak. He's got a pretty nice drone count. He's gotten away with, I'd say, a fair bit of greed. But it's 1 gas, less technology, and a faster layer. I think the Cyclones and the Banshees and these Hellions actually have a really good chance to get some counterattack damage done.
They do. This is where Queen's going to be on the front lines, targeting down that Banshee. And Roaches can deal with their wet rests, technically, but the Cyclones will be a little bit of trouble. Beastyqt didn't lose all of his natural SCVs. I really thought he was going to. So that is a difference of, it was 7 workers killed. It could have been 12 plus. That's pretty big. And he does have a shot to return the damage. He's going to go 2 starports, by the way. Different type of mech coming out here.
I like it, though.
Yeah. 2 Queens on the front lines, but 1 gets picked off immediately. Oh, forced by homes to the Banshee. That would have been nice.
Yeah, the fact that he removes the Queen so quickly, though, gives that Banshee more free reign. Not to mention the Cyclones are already just phenomenal units in this situation.
This is nice. This is stopping him from making drones.
Yeah, and consider the trade he just got out of that, too. That was super cost-effective for Beastyqt. The Vikings a little bit odd. I'm not sure what that's going to get much done for, but the Banshees actually don't quite have cloak yet, so he's going to keep that low one on the backside.
Queen's got to pair up, man. This just got to stick together. Otherwise, he's going to die.
I actually really like this Viking if it were able to pick off the Overseer, but looks like with the Queen still standing, the Banshee's a little bit late to the party. If the Banshee gets in there and kills the Queen, the Viking kill the Overseer, then there's a little bit more freedom, I guess, for the Terran player, but a bit awkward as his ground units start disappearing. It looks like he lost the rest of his air. BC had a really good attack, and I think it went well up until that point, but then he lost everything in like one fell swoop, and now he's left with not too much at home defending, but I think Banshee should keep him in this game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 2 Banshees at a time. He is going to go for faster speed for them, so they're probably going to be used with speed this game, where last game they really weren't. And he can buy time with depots as well. TLO is just going to... He's going to waste roaches. And sure, he'll figure out the build with them when there's 2 other Banshees popping out here. But is it worth the roaches? He splits them up. Oh, that sucks. Wow. TLO should know by now that it's more than 1 starport. He still is rallying roaches. I found a little bit surprising.
It's also a Nidus Worm, not a Spire or anything like that.
Oh yeah, Nidus Worm. Well, he was starting to make queens from every hatchery.
I mean, I'm thinking about this in a small way where you're you take that mentality too, where you're fighting against mutas. Like, not because of the queens, but more so you just go under the map so you don't get picked off in the middle of the map. But I don't know. I feel like as long as the Banshees have Hyperflight rotors, they'll be able to respond to wherever that Nidus Worm goes down very quickly. They're so fast with that upgrade.
We'll see how it works out. It looks like it's going to be a frontal Nidus Worm. Yeah.
That being said, all right, so how many queens would come with this? There's about 8. That's a lot. The Banshees do have a considerable amount of damage. And speed won't help them in this situation. It's also nothing to pick off the Overseers, so Cloak won't matter. I don't know. I'm actually liking TLO's attack for this a lot.
We'll see how it works out. He did lose a lot of roaches just attacking in like this. The queen count is plentiful. It's not totally, you know, there's not a lot of energy on it. 5 chance uses. We'll see. Let's see. TLO definitely wants to break down these rocks. He'd have to, like, if he runs in single file, the queens will be that, like, little bit far behind. Without losing roaches again. We finally have a tank out. Coming out, but it's supply block. Oh, it's just not starting. Oh, is he trapped? Oh, it's contaminated. That's nice too. That's really nice by TLO.
This is so scary though for Beasty. Like, he's got to pull the SCVs. It looks stupid, but anything that the queens are shooting that aren't the Banshees gives them more free reign. They can almost one-shot the queens. If they could one-shot the queens, this would have been very different. But a Banshee corpse goes, I don't even know what that was. What the fuck? Okay, well the Banshee dies into the abyss of the undersea. It's unfortunate because this is where the armories are. This is a big loss for BC as far as like base positioning goes. I think he was just trying to buy that time to get those Liberators out to try and get the extra support for said Banshees. He wraps around the backside. He's trying to get on top of TLO and cut off his reinforcement point, but a new Nidus Worm was placed down right in the natural base. This cuts him off from his 3rd, which is not a planetary, by the way, so a ninja base starts up, hoping to get away with that. Pick off the other Nidus Worm.
Not bad. Now TLO can make a couple of Ravagers to help against the Liberators, though, so that won't save his life. Tanks will definitely help, and it was really good that he stalled out that 1 tank. I think that might have been out to at least help the natural a little bit more. Not the easy win. Spire's now on the way as TLO realizes there's a potential, yeah, that the Banshees could do some damage.
Yeah, the 5 spine or spore crawlers are a pretty big deal. Of course, the Banshees can still fight them down, though. When you get over 4 or 5 Banshees, their damage is pretty significant. Killing spore crawlers is not out of the question. But, oh, killing queens is. So those Nidus Worm on the front line shuffles all the queens back home, and that's a pretty big deal.
It is. Beasty still feels like he's in this game, despite more contaminations going down in his factories. Annoying.
It is super annoying.
TLO might not find this hidden base for some time. And there still are 48 SCVs. It's not a bad economy.
Oh, it's such a shame. Like, if BC had that 1 extra Banshee, maybe he was able to focus fight on the queens quicker and could have taken a better defensive fight. Maybe if a Liberator was out, or as you mentioned, tanks. Like, there's a lot of what-ifs for this game, but to his credit... Oh, that would be a nice pickup on the Nidus Worm. To his credit, like, TLO also did some really weird and funky things, so this wasn't quite so standard for anybody to deal with. The Banshees are also getting picked off.
Mutas are on the way out, and while they can outrun the Overseers, they can cloak and retreat. If another one goes down, like 2 still is, it's not scary anymore. 2 is enough to do damage to a drone line, but that's not something TLO will have to worry about in a couple minutes here. He'll just be banking so much.
This is so risky to be relying on this base for income. He also scans 3 times to see what's going down on the other side of the map to assess the situation. But yeah, this is a really tough spot to be in, to say the least.
I think the Overseers still are contaminating when they can. BaseTqt needs to make 1 Marine. Or I guess the Thor could also take care of it.
Potentially. Shoot, I have to actually take care of something really important, and I'm super sorry that this is in the middle of the game, but I gotta put the camera on you.
Alright. Oh, lordy. That was almost a terrible move. Figures out the army's still over there, though, and will retreat. I think this army could take on the Roach army without the Queens reinforcing. But we have Mutas, we have Corruptors, we have, I'm gonna guess, Broodlords without Hive, Swarm Hosts from the Infestation Pit, all the stuff TLO needs to take on an endgame mech army, and eventually his creep spread will find this hidden base. BaseTqt should lift it and go over here. It'll never be found. Here. Another Nidus Swarm. We're just gonna... This is not the best investment, technically, as TLO isn't swimming in minerals and gas. But he figures he has a good enough army that it doesn't matter right now, I think. And if it doesn't matter right now, then he'll probably be able to bank that excess gas count, mineral count later. He is almost maxed out. Yeah, that's fine. Well, upgrades are finishing up for BaseTqt, something that TLO probably hasn't thought of. I would actually say that he might want at least 1 or 2 on some of these units, but I don't know if he's thinking about it. Yeah, I don't think that's where BaseTqt is really coming back into this game, mind you, but it does mean his army is more of that, okay, mech army is pretty damn good. Like, it can actually take on a sizable Zerg force, especially when that Zerg force is still majority roaches, not swarm hosts. Still has not found out about this base, but so close! Come on now. They're so creepy. Why do I want this? Now, swarm hosts are revealed by attacking into the natural. Kills a couple SCVs. Not the worst thing for BaseTqt to be worrying about. He was banking 700 minerals. Okay, then he built a command center. Oh, man. Oh, that sucks. Well, this did make TLO think about upgrades. Where CDs go down. Oh, we're gonna cut off the right side. Still not scouting that hidden base. I can't believe that hasn't happened yet. This creep team really should have gone off to the right side. The armory's well to be replaced somewhere else, and that is a big investment of gas. He's not too bad on the minerals. Gas, still a big deal to him. He's gonna have Broodlords to deal with soon enough, and he doesn't really have strong anti-air army that you could have, I guess. He's been trying to get Thors and siege tanks and a good ground army for the last couple of minutes. No scans on the main means that BaseTqt does not know there's a hive. He'll just be completely surprised. Not too many Broodlords to start off with. And if BaseTqt had even like 4 Vikings with these Thors, this might be a game he continues with, basically. But Swarm Hosts, Locusts, Corruptors, Broodlings raining down, Queens transfusing. He's going to be pushed somewhere to the point of breaking. I'm not sure if that natural is going to be that point, but it could be a lot of the replication. I cannot believe this base still isn't being scouted. TLO is certainly messing up big time, because this is important gas that BaseTqt definitely needs. It's also a place to drop mules, so like he's also not mining out of his original mineral line nearly as quickly as he can make. BaseTqt, despite slowly getting to a point of, well, he's actually getting to a point of anything. He's just continuing to hold on. Despite continuing to hold on, just figures, okay, I'm not even above 120 supply. I'm just gonna tap out, which makes kind of for a lame ending to game number 2. That's how it goes. GG. So that'll bring TLO to face True in the round of 8. Other notable matches going on. Let's see here. True 2-1 healer. Cool that healer got that one game. Nurture versus Hush. Namture versus Kerr. Keen beat Stylish, who was alive, which is pretty good. Bly beat out Fear and is now facing Lily Canine. I do imagine it'll go in Bly's favor. And yeah, we're on our way to the semifinals. Usually this would be the time in which we took a break, but Rifkin is still dealing with whatever he's dealing with. So, yeah. We could just do TLO versus True right off the bat, but we could also wait for Keen versus Mana. I'm not sure how good that would be. Like, I want to see a Protoss player, but Mana's had even more difficulty with Terran than most other Protosses. They get a Necronaut SC for the 3-month resub. Kappa. Yeah, I'll just go with the ZvT.
Okay, super sorry, I'm back. Hello.
Hello.
Alright, we're back, guys. I hope that wasn't waiting too long.
Just a awkward 5 minutes. I think we're gonna follow TLO. It's true.
Okay. Yeah. So some important stuff pertaining to my move came to the door, and I guess what's really annoying is like when you get stuff from the States, you have to pay like the duty tax, and I left my credit card at the front door for my mom to use for me so that it wouldn't interrupt the casting. But I guess the credit card reader wasn't working. I don't know. So that was a whole ordeal. My bad. Sorry about that.
Okay.
But yeah, luckily, at least it means I won't have to worry about all this stuff going forward, moving much longer. Internet has been installed in the new place. I've got most of what I need to move, and I think this week sometime, or next week, basically I'm trying to find a time that'll be like after we're done a Korean cast to move during the day so that it doesn't interrupt the actual casting stuff we're doing. But yeah, it's gonna be a little bit hectic for me for the next week and a half, guys. Sorry about that.
So are we gonna take a break or?
Oh yeah, we can throw 2 minutes in, I guess. Commercial break. So
Okay.
I'll see you guys here in 2 minutes.